Okay. Somebody want to roll a D100? $82. Okay. What do we got here? Oh,
Huge.
interesting question. All right. Question for today is, when was the last time you cried? What happened? Interesting. Let's see. What should we start with? I guess we'll just go in order that they're across the top of my screen here. So I guess, Jinku, when was the last time you cried?
When my sisters abandoned me out of embarrassment, I went behind a bush and cried so nobody would see me.
What were they like? Why were they embarrassed of you?
My whole family is embarrassed of me because I'm interested in magic.
Oh,
They don't like magic.
interesting. Okay. Mix. When was the last time you cried? I hope you didn't pass out already on us.
That was me. I'm still awake.
Oh, there you go. If you said something we couldn't hear you, when was the last time you cried?
Oh wait, that's me. You said mix. Mick. I thought you a mix.
Yeah, Mix.
Damn it. I'm like sitting here like, who the hell is he talking to?
Yeah, you.
Um, I was gonna say I cried when my mom died, and my patron wouldn't even come down to, you know, speak to her at the funeral. Kind of just ignored her like she didn't even exist. Stupid bitch.
Wait, was it? I thought your mom was the god.
Oh no, yeah, my dad. So I said that backwards.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I gotcha. All right. Zyara.
Um, it would probably be when uh my friend that was like a sister to me died because I crossed the wrong person. She was killed to be an example to me. I ha- I just I hate haven't planned who it is. It's nobility. I know that much, but I haven't named them.
Okay, Booth.
You can call me Boo.
Oh, Boo, that's right. No, not with the H.
Yeah.
Boo.
What about Boo Boo?
Maybe if we're close.
Oh,
Um,
I call him Boo Boo.
I think Boo probably cries a little bit anytime he sees himself without his mask.
Damn.
He doesn't like that he is kind of an abomination of creations.
That's always fun.
Yes.
All right, and Blossom.
The last time Blossom cried was after I had saved up enough money to buy my freedom out of that gladiator coliseum.
Mm.
And I cried because, one, I was free, and two, I was terrified because I didn't know what to do or where to go or really anything, because the Coliseum had been my life
Yeah.
up until then.
All right. Cool. Thank you for that. All right. Does anybody want to give us a recap of the shenanigans you guys got up to last time?
Well, we had a drink, and we met with our contact, whose name I didn't write down.
Yagra.
Yep.
Agra, the half orc.
Yep.
That's right. And while hanging out, somebody got rowdy, and everybody had kind of encouraged them, and they went down the portal and attracted the attention of a troll and several sturges. Durnan seemed to handle the troll quite well for everyone, and the rest of us took care of the sturges. Much seemed to be the amusement of the patrons, who all just kind of watched while they drank. Nobody helped us. And then after everything calmed down, Augur there brought their contact, Volo, to meet us, and that was, we left off like we had just met Volo. Boo pooped a little bit, and then yeah, I think that's.
Here's a picture of Volo. Dashing gentleman. So yeah, Vola just walked up to your guys' table here, and I'll say again what he said last time just to refresh your memory. So he walks up and goes, "Volothamp Gedarm, chronicler, wizard, and celebrity at your service. I'm most impressed by your daring, and truth is that I fear I've misplaced a friend amid the violence which has recently been seizing the streets of our fair city, and I could use your assistance finding him. You'd be well paid, of course." And he kind of pulls up a stool and kind of scoots up to the table next to you here in the bar.
Well paid.
Yes, of course. He kind of digs through the little sack tied onto his belt here and pulls out several little coin purses, one for each of you. I'll pay you 10 gold pieces up front just for agreeing to help me out here, and 100 gold pieces once this is finished.
I'll whisper to Mix, and I'll say, well, what do you think, Mix?
Sounds like easy money to me.
So we are agreed
Mix and
then.
I are in. Us two at least. The rest of you?
Yeah, sure, count me in.
Sure.
If they're agreeable.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. And he kind of spreads out these little sachets with 10 gold pieces in each. How do I have this just give 10 gold each player?
So go to the party sheet,
Okay.
and then as long as we all have our sheets set up right, with our gold and everything, under the inventory section, there's like the in the top left, there's a section for GP.
Yeah.
So you would just put like whatever, like what is that?
50.
50 gold pieces.
Yep.
And then you click the little down arrow thing, and it should just chunk out, distribute it evenly.
Okay.
As long as everybody's in the party sheet. We're not in the party sheet though. You got to drag and drop us all into the party sheet.
Oh,
on the
I
main
see.
tab of the...
Party. There's Boo. There's Jinku. There's Mix. Don't need to have Testy McTesterson in the party. Here we go. Alright, it's 50.
Yep.
Boom. Dollar bills, y'all. Alright. So Vola slides these across the table to you. And, after you've taken a moment here to, kind of look through the little sachets that you've been given, making sure it is what he promised. He says, well, thank you for taking up this request of mine. And he kind of sighs a bit. My friend's name is Floon Blagmar. He's got more beauty than brains, but he's a great drinking companion. And last night he accompanied me to a bawdy tavern of sorts called the Skewered Dragon. It's down in the dock ward, you may have heard of it. I called it an early night last night, but Floon, he stayed behind. He enjoys the company and kept drinking and merrymaking. And this morning, his wife tracked me down and told me he never came home last night. And I was especially surprised by this, as I didn't know he had been married. I thought he was just on his own. And if you're looking for him, he's a handsome man. He's in his early 30s with wavy red blonde hair. He's not very hard to pick out. He's rather gaudy. And he always wears this 6-inch bas relief of a unicorn's head on a chain of blue pearls around his neck.
Why are you friends with this guy? He sounds pretentious.
He's an excellent drinking companion. He absolute joy to speak with, especially once he's gotten a few good tankards of ale into him. It's just wonderful company.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat, buddy.
There are many boats to float here in Waterdeep.
Jinku just rolls her eyes.
So he, as you mentioned, this tavern, the Skewered Dragon, he takes it you may not have know where it is, and he, kind of pulls out a bit of a piece of paper out of his satchel here and kind of draws a quick, crude map for you here. Let me get that up. Where'd it go? Did I lose my map? Nope, here it is. Okay. So you should see this map of this southern part of Waterdeep, right? Okay. So he marks on your map, or he marks on this kind of crudely drawn map of his. A lot less detail on this piece of paper than what you see here. He can't draw quite that well that fast. But he marks that down in the dock ward between Fillet Lane and Net Street is a tavern called the Skewered Dragon. I believe that should have just shared a little pin for you all.
Yeah.
Okay, there should be a little green pin. So yes, so you all are... you're pretty much nearly straight north of this area. You're in the dock ward as well, in the yawning portal right now. And actually, let me just share this map as well, so you're able to see where we are as a whole. So this should be all of Waterdeep, and you should see in the southern half there is the yawning portal, which is where you are right now. And then the map that I just shared you earlier is this kind of southern point with the dock ward and the southern ward. Thank you for the follow there. Welcome, Mr. Valor. So after you had looked over this little map that he'd given you, he kind of leans back a little bit on this stool and says, "Well, any other inquiries you have for me before you're off? I do hope to find him quickly. I hope he hasn't gotten into too much trouble. The town has been a bit raucous as of late with all this activity going on, and I dearly hope he hasn't been caught up in it."
Do you know of any enemies he might have had? Serve?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, he was a pleasurable and joyful fellow to be around, and everybody that I knew that came in contact with him was regarded him as quite a great friend to have. I'm not quite sure what enemies he would have garnered here. As far as I was aware, he didn't have any sort of shady connections or anything of that sort.
Yeah,
Where
but
did
you
he
also
live?
didn't know he was married.
That is fair. I mean, I made... Most of the times I see him, we are very, very inebriated, so who's to say if there's more to him than, an ale-addled mind can say. He seemed perfectly wonderful to me. I do hope you find him.
Well, you say start at this skewered dragon then, eh?
Yes. Down in the dock ward. It's a bit of a hole in the wall, I guess you'd say, of taverns. And there's quite a few around in Waterdeep, of course, but this one's a little on the rougher edge, but we like it well enough.
We just saw a troll slain near the bar. Are you saying the skewered dragon is rougher than the yawning portal?
Well, there's no gaping portals in the floor, if that's what you're asking. It's more of a normal tavern of that sort. If there's any trouble, it's of the somewhat more civilized variety, I guess.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Well, we have some pay. Shall we go investigate this skewered dragon and have another drink or two?
Ah, heck, why not?
All right. So you all head up and out of the yawning portal and leave Volo behind, and he raises a glass to you as you leave, cheering you on, hoping you bring him good news of his friend that he cares for so much. All right, so you guys kind of make your way down the streets towards. If you're looking at the map of that southern part of Waterdeep, what streets would you say you're going down to get there?
We were just directly north of it, right? So probably the way of the dragon.
Yeah, it's like north and just slightly west, but yeah, you could take the way of the dragon. That's a pretty direct way to go. All right. So you all head out of the yawning portal and make your way through a few side streets over to the more of main thoroughfare of the Way of the Dragon. It's about mid-afternoon at this point, I'd say. Maybe 3 or 4 p.m. And so there's still quite a bit of traffic coming up and down the Way of the Dragon. Various merchant carts and people milling about. As you're coming down the road, as you're coming down the Way of the Dragon, you see at Zastro Street, where it comes and connects in. I can put a little. Can you see that circle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure if I had to share it or not. All right, so as you're coming down the street here, you notice that you see that the entrance to this Zastro Street here has been cordoned off by the City Watch, and you see kind of peering around the people that are nearby, and maybe gawking a bit as they pass by. There appear to be half a dozen corpses strewn across the cobblestones here, seemingly the victims of some kind of terrible skirmish. And the officers of the watch that are there, they seem to have disarmed and arrested 3 blood-drenched humans and are in the midst of questioning various witnesses. And one of the officers, sees you kind of stopping for a moment to say, "Get on! Nothing to see here. Get on with your business."
Is there nothing to see here, guys? What do you think? This could be what happened. We got a name. Couldn't we just ask these guards if they know if it's him?
Yeah, I mean, worst case, he's not in the pile of corpses.
All right.
Well, you're the biggest. Why don't you ask, Jinku?
What the hell was the guy's name again?
Floon Blagmar.
All right, so yeah, Jinku will go up to one of the guards and say, "Good man, do you know if any of these poor unfortunate souls was named Floon?"
Floon. I don't believe so. I mean, this is all some gang activity, so unless he's caught up in all that kind of business, I doubt he would have been here. Move along. There's nothing really to see here. Just city guard business.
Hang on, sir. Hang on. Any buddy with some bright red hair or some fancy ass pretentious clothes in that corpse pile there?
I mean, unless you count the cloaks of thieves and gangsters as bawdy and garish, I wouldn't think so.
All right. Good talk. Good talk.
Any others of you try to get a look or do anything with the 3 that are tied up nearby? As Jinku's talking to this guard here.
Let me see. Is there guards near them? Like, can I approach these ones that are tied up?
No, there are some guards near them, and you'd have to go through the cordons to get very close to them if you want to like interact with them. But you can see them. One of them's glaring at you. He has kind of a cold look in his eyes. He doesn't like that you're asking questions, it seems.
Mhm.
Boo, do you want to roll a perception check for me real quick? All right. So, as you notice that as one of them just kind of has this kind of cold, steely stare looking at you, and one of the guards kind of slaps him, and his head jerks around, and you see for a moment what looks to be some kind of tattoo on his neck. You can't quite make out what it is from where you're at, but it looks to be some kind of a squiggly shape. But you can't quite make out the details. But it seems to be kind of on the back side of his neck here.
Hmm.
Again, the guard kind of waves you along. Come along now! Along with her business! Unless you want to join the lot of them.
No, no, no. So I'll start heading. Come on, Mix. Let's stop gawking. You heard him.
Okay. So, let's see here. So, there's still like the various people that are milling around here in the street. And as you're, getting closer down to around Phillip Lane, there's various people that seem to live in the area, milling about in front of their houses, doing various tasks. There seem to be a few already drunken people leaning against buildings and sitting on the ground amidst the dirt and the dust and the cobblestones. Seems to be a fairly normal afternoon down here on Phillip Lane in this part of the city. The dock ward, overall, like these buildings that you're walking along and near in this section of town, it's very densely packed. And most of these buildings are fairly tall, actually. Usually, 4 or 5 floors, if not more. And the street level itself along Phillip Lane and this kind of area of town is shadowed quite well by the height of all these tightly packed kind of ramshackle buildings that fill up a lot of this ward. Most of the street lamps that you see along the street have their glass smashed and their candles that were in them stolen. The air kind of reeks of salt and excrement as you're kind of going along these rundown buildings. It doesn't quite seem to be the best part of town here in the dock ward of Waterdeep.
Well, I guess he wasn't lying, was he? This area does not look to be incredibly safe. Guard yourself. Any of you see that skewered dragon yet?
I've not seen it, but I think it's up ahead.
Okay. So,
Oh yes, there it is. There it is.
yeah, as you're coming up Phillip Lane here, you can see, kind of peering at the crude map that Volo had drawn for you. You seem to be about in the right area. You see a little bit of an alleyway go between a few of these kind of rundown buildings, and what looks to be a more of a tavern kind of pokes out from behind them. The Skewered Dragon, like a lot of the buildings around here, looks pretty ruined. It's not in a very good shape. Both of its front-facing windows are smashed out. The roof has a quite large ship's anchor just lodged in it, just kind of piercing through the roof. And through the windows, you can see a group of kind of haggard-looking patrons chugging from just massive, massive tankards and going about their business at 4 in the afternoon.
Well, this doesn't look like my kind of place to drink, but shall we investigate?
Dockboard is not a very good place to be, but I guess we should all have to go in here to find more information.
So are you guys? So what are you guys investigating as you're coming up in here? Are you gonna try to talk to some of these people or try to poke around? What are you looking into around here?
I'm pretty keen on probably starting in the bar, asking around in the bar. What do you guys think?
It's probably a good place to start.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. The bar would probably be the best place to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How do we want to do this when we get in there? Maybe split off into a couple groups and ask different people about how last night was.
Sure.
All right.
Let's go then.
All right. So the 5 of you walk up to the open door of the Skewered Dragon here, and yeah, it seems to be some of the regulars, the regular patrons seem to already be in here, drinking away in their corners, and one of them is just outside the shop. He kind of lolling against the wall here. He seems to have had quite a bit already. There's about maybe 7 or 8 people in here, aside from the barkeep.
Oh, barkeep. I'll have one of those hefty flagons of drink.
Haven't seen you a bunch around here before. What brings you to the Skewered Dragon? Usually don't get many strangers around these parts.
Oh, this and that. We're seeing the town. This is the first time I've been to Waterdeep. I'm taking the sights in while I can. This place seemed well enough to fetch a drink. The anchor drew us. I was quite surprised to see something like that on a building. What a pleasant detail of architecture.
She kind of chuckles slightly because first time to Waterdeep and comes to the Skewered Dragon. Wow. That's a first. I've heard of that, but well enough. And she goes and draws up a large tankard here and be copper for the tankard.
Yeah, all right, here you go. I'll give her 2 copper.
Her eyes kind of widen a bit and go, oh, generous one, aren't we? And slides the tankard across the bar at you. You take a sip of this. It is not good. It is terrible piss water alcohol. Yeah, it's no wonder they serve it in tankards so large with how watered down and atrocious it is. It probably takes a tankard or two just to get something off of it.
Okay. I'll probably like kind of drink it, but just sip it after the first drink if it's pretty good.
All right. What are the rest of you doing here in the bar? You see, there's a few other human patrons sitting along the bar here, and there's a dwarf sitting off in a corner, a few others, and kind of various cloaks. You can't quite tell what they are right away, but
I'm gonna snobbishly ask, what else do you have besides ale?
well, if you're looking for a selection, yeah, you came to the wrong place. Ale's all we got here.
I'll take a tankard.
All right. She draws up another one here and slides it across the bar. Copper.
Toss her copper.
I will as well. No, Andrew, the copper.
All right, and she does the same for you. Again, this is still just it's terrible. You take a drink and you kind of understand the expression that Boo had on his face when he took a sip earlier off of his. It is not good. It's arguably some of the worst alcohol you've probably ever had.
Huh. Well, we were to meet a friend of ours somewhere around here. His wife said he drinks here from time to time, which is honestly why we ended up coming here. Tell me, have you seen him? His name is Flu. Do I have this right? Vlagmar.
Floon. And she kind of thinks for a moment, be like, well, I don't really like to talk to strangers about the regulars here. They, a bit of a rougher crowd. Who knows what business they might be into. I don't really want to garner their ire.
Oh, I can be discreet, and I'll slide a silver piece over the bar to her.
All right, so she kind of nods a little bit as you slide this over and says, Floon. Well, he was here with Volo last night. They like to come here. They stick out a bit from the usual bunch around here, but they seem to like it. They never complain about the alcohol. And as she starts talking about Floon, one of the other humans at the bar kind of slams his fist down the table and says, Floon, here's a riot, that one. And kind of takes another chug off of his beer. And the tavern keeper kind of says, agrees, he's a fun sort. Brightens up the atmosphere around here a little when he's around. Thank you, Drake.
Have you seen him today?
Oh, today, no. He was here last night with Volo. They, like I said, they drink here fairly frequently, and then Volo headed off. He turned in early, and there was a friend of his that came in. I'm not quite sure. And at this, the guy sitting next kind of interrupts again, being like, "Yeah, he's a spoiled noble who likes to rub our noses in it. Fuck him."
I'll grin at that and raise my mug, kind of in like an acknowledgement of that guy, and I'll say, "Ha, nobles, am I right?" And I'll say, "One for him," and pass a copper to the bartender to buy a drink. And I'll say, which noble was it, my?"
Oh, I don't know. One of those rich, stuck-up sons of bitches. I don't know his name. He's just the air about him is just it's the worst. Oh, you know how those are, those rich nobles with their money and their life. Think they have it so easy, and they come down here to the dock ward and think they can have a time with us down here. It drives me nuts.
Indeed, my friend, indeed.
And he takes another big old swig of his tankard at this, and he just conks out right on the bar. Seems he was pretty deep in a few. Quite a few by the several empty tankards sitting next to him.
Well, he was definitely interesting.
Yes. So we met a noble.
The tavern keeper, again. Yes, they left. He left with him last night. I've seen him before. I believe they're friends as well. But last time I saw Floon, he was leaving with his rich friend, and headed out to the north a little ways, and that's the last I saw.
To the north, you say?
Well, it is the only way out of the alley, after all.
Yes, I suppose it is. Interesting business up north a ways we saw coming down.
Oh,
I'll tell her about the violence and stuff.
oh, that's probably some more of the gangs. They've been causing trouble around here recently, and I'm sure there was probably some other scuffle between the various factions going on. Who knows what they're up to?
All right, then. Well, what do the rest of you think?
You talk to anyone else in here, or head out into the street and check people out there, or what?
I guess we could follow the lead and see where that leads.
I think Zayara would ask the barkeep perchance is there anyone here that would know who this noble might be?
That I can't really say. I'm not sure. Um, there was, and now that I'm thinking of it, when Floon and him left last night, there were, oh, there were a few others who followed them out a little afterwards. Not quite sure who they were. But I think there were a few.
A few folks followed them out. Interesting.
What'd they look like?
Oh, they didn't really look too different than most of the lot around here. You know, a bit on the rougher side, kind of tattered cloaks, and that sort of business. I only really remember because they left in a group. Usually we just kind of get one-offs or pairs staggering in here. And it was a few of them. I think it was like 5 of them.
Hmm. Five, huh?
I don't think I've seen them since last night. So they haven't come back, whoever they were.
Is there anybody in here right now that was here last night?
Oh, most people around here are probably here every night.
Go ask some folks, Jenku. I probably look curious enough as it is.
Alright. Jinku is gonna go talk to the dwarf.
Alright. So as you turn around and look at this dwarf who's kind of sitting over in the corner, you see that he appears to be picking lice out of his beard and eating them. And when you look at him, he kind of notices that you're looking at him and then stops and kind of tries to make it look like he was just scratching his beard.
I will walk up to him and say, "Hail and well met, sir. Please, don't stop on my account. May I join you?"
I guess.
Wonderful. Hey, you come in here often?
What's it to you?
Oh, just call it curiosity. Just looking for a friend and comes in here often. Maybe you might have seen him or know where he is.
Well, y'all come here often.
Do you know a fellow by the name of Floon? Kind of a fancy pants guy.
Sure, I seen him.
When was the last time you saw him?
Last night.
Was he with anybody when you saw him?
Well, Bolo, of course, and that stuck-up bastard, and then he left, and then I kept drinking.
Stuck up bastard. Oh, is this awful nobleman that everybody keeps talking about?
Ugh, he just... Why he comes here, I don't know.
Damn rich people. Do you happen to know his name?
I'm damned if I know or care.
Wonderful. Well, sir, enjoy your drink and your lice. It was nice talking to you. And I
Okay.
will pat him on the head with my trunk as I walk away.
A nice little, like, kind of cloud of dandruff kind of spoofs out of his beard as you tap down on the head with your trunk.
I'll shake my trunk off a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll go back to my party and be like, okay, whoever this noble guy is, everybody freaking hates him. We need to figure out who he is.
Down with the upper class.
Here, here, and Jinku slams her tankard.
You want to roll a Constitution saving throw for me real quick as you slam that tankard?
I don't know how you could stand that stuff, Janku.
Well, you manage to keep it down. For a moment there, you kind of wonder. Like you get kind of a... and you kind of feel it coming up a little bit, but you manage to swallow it back down.
Oh, that's awful shit, but booze is booze.
If you say so, I would touch that piss water, the last sustenance on earth.
Finish mine, and I'll slide mine too.
I'll drink that one too.
You want to roll another Constitution saving throw for slamming that second one? Ooh. That one doesn't go quite as well as the first one. You have to kind of hastily grab the end of your trunk as some of it kind of started to shoot out your nose to keep it from going anywhere.
All right, I think we're done here.
Alright, so you guys head out of the tavern here.
I suppose, yeah.
Okay. Alright, so you head out of the tavern here and find yourself back on Fillet Lane, just a little ways up the little alley here that heads back to the Skewered Dragon. And, it's been a little bit. It's a little later in the evening now. Maybe closer to 5. And, still a few people milling about. You see on the corner of Fillet Lane and Zastro Street, there is a shop that seems to kind of stand out from the others around here. It has a deep, deep purple facade, which just it sticks right out of the kind of drab and tawdry colors of the rest of these buildings. And in the windows, it has kind of a little bay window on it, and in the window hangs a small stuffed beholder. And then above the door is a sign with these kind of elaborately carved letters that spell out the Old Zoblob Shop.
Well, this place looks interesting. Maybe somebody saw something in here. Fine, I'll go in and check it out by myself, and I'll kind of stomp in into the...
I'll go with you and wait up.
So as you're entering this shop, as soon as you go through the door, there's this cloud of lavender-scented purple smoke that just kind of trails out of the shop door as you guys walk in. Every single wall in this place is purple. Every single thing, every knickknack on every single shelf in here is deep purple. And
It's like Sayara's kind of place.
And over on a counter in the back, there is a hairless old gnome sitting cross-legged on the counter, wearing these deep plum-colored robes, and his cheeks are decorated with kind of face-painted purple eyes on his cheeks and on his forehead. And as he sees you step in, and the lavender scented smoke kind of twirls, he lowers a pipe that he's smoking and blows out another cloud of this lavender smoke and raises a hand. Hail and well met! Come browse the shelves of the most curious curiosity shop in the world.
Well, I suppose we shall.
So as you're kind of stepping in and poking around, there's an assortment of various trinkets that seem to be all over the shop here. Every single one of them purple.
Anything interesting?
Let's see.
I like trinkets. So there's a lot that would probably be interesting to me.
Well, we've got you see a whistle that seems to be made from some kind of wood. It's, purple like everything else, of course, and is kind of tooled with some kind of gold inlay on it. There is kind of an elven design looking arrow, also purple. You find a small packet that when you look inside seems to have some sort of purple dust. There is let's see here. Few other, some small statuettes, various popular gods, all of them purple. A few assorted, rings and little necklace charms and things. Also, all varying shades of purple. Some of the stuff's kind of hard to pick out just because everything is purple and all the shelves are purple and the walls are purple. You have to kind of look a little bit almost to see some of the stuff because it just all blends in. It's just purple everywhere.
How much do you want for this dust? This purple dust.
Oh, that'd be He thinks for a moment here. Be 2 GP for that.
You're quite proud of it, aren't you?
This is the most unique curiosity shop in the world. You can't... Everything purple you could ever want we have here. It's not easy to come by stuff that's all the same color.
Yes, it is. If I come here, is it not?
Well, if you're buying it, of course, but collecting it all and getting it here is another matter entirely.
Why purple?
Why not purple? I mean, blue, green, don't you have a color you like?
Sure, but that doesn't mean I want everything in that color.
Well, that's just silly. If you have a favorite
we'll
color,
just agree
why
to
not go with
disagree.
it?
We're just gonna agree to disagree here, sir.
I'll pay him for this dust.
Okay.
Mix is gonna shake his head because he hates purple. It just got him annoyed.
Rude.
Oh, you walked into the wrong shop.
Right? Oh, jeez. So he
Oh, he kind of just decided that right now. He just decided he hates purple. because of this guy.
All right.
Still rude.
So he makes this transaction with you for this dust in this little sachet, and as he hands it over, he is like, I haven't seen you guys around here before. Never seen you in my shop. What brings you to this part of town? You don't seem to be too interested in purple, so it seems a little strange.
Um, I guess Zyra, while looking around, is speaks up and says, "Well, we were looking for a friend of ours. Uh, he was seen last night at the Skewered Dragon, but no one knows where he's been since."
Well, we don't really get skewered dragon folks in here. I mean, when did you last see your friend?
Perhaps you would recognize him. He's a bit of a fancier fellow. His name's Floon.
Fancy how?
Dresses a bit gaudy. These blue pearls around his neck.
Well, I don't really care about those, but, I recognize the description.
Perhaps you may have seen him last night. He left the Skewered Dragon with a nobleman, supposedly.
Perhaps, but, I don't really see what this has to do with me.
Oh, we're just looking for information if you so happen to have it.
Well, that's not free. What have you got for me?
About, if you don't tell us, I'm gonna knock you on the head with my trunk.
I've had worse.
Mix and a desire to leave this place holds out a gold piece that says, "If you tell us what we want to know and the answers are satisfactory, you will get this. If not, I'll keep it."
I can get enough of that fair enough with the goods in my shop. Got anything purple? He's kind of looking at Zyra, being like, "You look nice. Got anything purple?" Color seems to suit you.
It's my favorite color.
Oh, well. You're in the right place then, aren't you?
Quite. Your collection's quite impressive.
Well, how would you like to add to it somehow?
I can see what I have.
What do you got?
Zyra digs through her pack and she finds a couple of purple items. One would be a pair of like it's one of her extra sets of tarot cards. Are like purple and ornate. She doesn't use them in common settings, and they're embossed with uh, gold designs. And she offers those to him and sees if he might be interested in that.
Okay. So he takes these cards as you hand them over to him here, and he kind of goes, "Ooh, these are lovely. All right, I'll take them. That's a fair trade." And he kind of shuffles them a bit and kind of sets them down on the countertop next to him here and says, "Well, last night, after I was closing things up, there was a bit of a ruckus out in front of the shop. There was some fancy man and someone else with him, I think, and maybe 4 or 5 kind of rough-looking sorts, and this kind of black leather all jumped them. Don't really know who those folks were. A couple of them had a tattoo. From what I was seeing out the window, it was a black flying snake."
Did you happen to recognize anyone?
Well, I don't know who any of them were. I mean, the fancy man you talked about, and whoever was with him, I don't know who that was, and these rough sorts I've never seen. They, with the tattoos, they jumped them and roughed them up and took them off somewhere.
What direction did they go?
Oh, north, I think. Up Zastro Street somewhere.
Interesting.
Thank you kindly for the information you were able to give us.
Thank you. Live purple. He kind of gleefully shuffles through these cards that you've given him here. Seems you liked them quite a bit. So you guys step out of the Zoblob shop and are here. Oh, go ahead. Quick.
I'll hold back behind the party.
Okay.
How much does he want for the cards?
How much does he want for the cards? Let's see. Actually, you want to buy him back, huh? Well, gonna cost you 5 GP, I think, for these.
You charged me 2 for gold dust earlier, and now 5 for some cards.
Oh, they're so fresh. They're so new.
They are.
New items in the shop.
I'll give you 4.
All right. I guess I did get them for free, pretty much, so 4 is fair.
After doing that, I'll follow the party.
Okay. So yeah, you all are back out on the street in front of this purple shop. He says some sort of ruckus happened in front of here sometime last night. You guys take a look around at all?
Yeah, probably. Just to see if maybe there's anything that was left behind.
Sure. Whoever's looking around, do y'all want to roll investigation checks as you're kind of poking around the street in front of the Zoblob shop? All right. So, as you all are kind of scrounging around, kind of maybe looking at some of the crates nearby and whatnot. Boo, you notice kind of concealed in a muddy puddle in the gutter in front of the Zoblob shop is a 6-inch bas relief of a unicorn sitting in the puddle here. The beads that were supposedly attached to it with the rest of the necklace don't seem to be here, but the unicorn main pendant part is. Do you look around at all anymore aside from this?
If she shows me that, I'd probably look around a little harder.
Well, you were the one that found it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Zyara had found it, and I was like,
No, you found it.
yeah, okay, that makes more sense to me.
You're the one with the 22.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, what? Okay, so I will show this.
Her and
to
I
the group.
didn't find shit.
Sorry. I will show this to the group, and then I'll be like, so it seems that something did happen around here. Perhaps we should look a little closer.
Okay. Where do you guys decide to look? So you found this in front of the Zoblob shop. Do you...
Is it like right in front of the shop?
Yeah, this is like right in front of the shop, like right in front of the window with the stuffed beholder in it.
What do you think, Mix? Is there any other buildings that have windows that look, out this way that we can maybe ask around and see if maybe somebody may have seen?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this whole area is all pretty tightly packed buildings, and most of them do have ground floor windows. Some of them are broken, but some of them are there, and most of them have ones that face the street, whether it's right across from the shop or kind of on this little intersection between Zastro and Fillet, or pretty much any of these look to be mostly houses or residences of some kind. There's a few others that you would expect would have had some kind of view if they happen to have heard or seen.
Oh, what do you think, guys? Should we try and find some more information or what? Something happened. This is where our friend was lost, it looks like.
Yeah, you'd think somebody had to have seen something. I'd say let's keep asking around.
Okay. You guys try knocking on doors and seeing what the neighbors think?
What is directly across from the purple shop?
From the purple shop? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So right across from the shop appears to be just someone's residence. The window at the front looks to have been broken at some point and kind of poorly repaired. But yeah, someone's house.
Well, guys, do you think we should see if the occupants of that house saw anything? I mean, it's right across from where something clearly happened. Maybe the window got broken during that event.
All right.
Okay.
So is the broken window at like eye level, or like decent level, like where we could just go peer into it, or?
Yeah, it's like average window height for like a ground level structure. So yeah, you could see into it. There's curtains, so you can't see very far. You can see there's curtains.
I'll move those curtains. I'll use Mage Hand and just move them out of the way. If I can. And peek in. I don't give a shit. It's a broken window. So, like, to me, that's a barrier that doesn't exist anymore.
All right. So you use Mage Hand to kind of scoot this curtain aside. Um, roll a stealth check for me. Okay. So the curtain, despite the condition of the window, the curtain seems to move fairly smoothly out of the way. Um, from what you can see through the broken window and the dust, um, seems to be a fairly typical lower class type house. Um, doesn't appear to be anybody in there right now, at least from what you can see of like the front room. There just seems to be, kind of a ramshackle rocking chair of sorts, and some a bookshelf or two, and kind of loosely populated bookshelves. They don't have very much, it seems, but they have a few, and some other kind of roughly put together side tables and things. So kind of just a lower class house.
Shall we see if somebody's home? It looks lived. My appearance isn't quite conducive to talking to commoners. Perhaps one of you should see if they have seen anything through this broken.
Zaire, you have the nicest face. Maybe you should approach.
Did we confirm that someone was in there?
You weren't able to see if that there, like, you see it like is lived in, but you didn't like see anyone from what you could see through the window curtain that Boo had parted.
Okay.
Um,
I nod and go knock on the door.
Okay. So you knock on the door of this house, and it takes a little bit, probably a good minute or so, before you kind of hear some stirring. Hear some creaking. Kind of sounds like someone going downstairs slowly. And the door opens, and it kind of opens just like a crack, really. And you see a kind of fairly elderly human female kind of peering out from the crack, and she looks at you all. And she sees Zara first, but sees the rest of you kind of standing back behind and goes, "Oh, it's not the first of the month, is it? Already? Oh no."
Hey, miss. We don't mean to cause you any trouble.
Oh, thank goodness I hadn't gotten any of my payments in yet. Oh, you gave me a fright there. Your friend is so large.
Yes, but I promise we're not here to cause you any trouble.
Oh, well, what do you want? Why are you bothering me then?
We were just hoping that you might have some information that we were looking for.
You see, we're looking for a friend. He's gone missing, and he was last seen in this intersection outside the shop over here.
Hmm. Hmm.
He's a bit of a fancier fellow, red hair.
I don't I don't believe I've seen anyone, but I heard a ruckus outside last night, but I didn't. I was upstairs. I didn't really see anything, but ruckuses are kind of, they're normalish in this part of town. So I didn't really think too much of it.
Perhaps you might be able to help with a different question then. Uh, we've heard about some men. They have tattoos on their neck, a flying snake.
Uh,
Do you know who they might be?
At this, she goes, "Oh, oh, there's some of the gangsters around here. Oh, they, some of the trouble they caused a few months ago broke my window. Uh, I think they have a warehouse or something nearby. They're always coming and going, and sometimes they like to harass the folks that live around here for money."
Do you happen to know what name they go by, who they work for?
I think they're part of the Zentarim gang.
Ah, well, thank you very much for the trouble. And here, let me offer this as a token of our thanks. And I take a gold piece out of my pouch and hand it to her.
Oh, oh my. Well, this will. Oh. And she seems kind of just overcome at this gold piece that you've given her here. It seems this is a little hard to come by for her. And she's kind of bowing gratefully as she, kind of backs away from the door and closes it, but, continues to kind of make these sounds of awe and thankfulness.
I turn to the rest of the party and basically tell them what I found out.
Warehouse, huh? Perhaps we should investigate this warehouse then. Maybe someone has seen our friend on the way there. Perhaps there's hope that he's alive.
Can't hurt.
What?
Can't hurt to go check out the
Oh, can't hurt.
warehouse.
Well, it might hurt. They are a gang, but I say let's go anyways. I ain't scared.
Okay. So as you kind of turn to, kind of head up to the north to try to figure out where or what this warehouse is, you notice, Jinku, as you take a step, you kind of feel an odd shape on your foot from the usual stones that you would expect. And you find a blue bead. Kind of a large bead. It's probably like a good inch around, at least. Kind of lodged between these two cobblestones that stuck out, kind of rolled a little bit as you moved your foot over it. And as you pick it up and kind of turn it over in your hands and look further up Zastro Street, you seem to see another one a few feet away, a little farther up the street.
Guys, look. And I'll point at it and move forward towards the next bead. Didn't the fancy guy have blue pearls?
That's what the fool said. It would seem that this is the way that they were taking him.
All right. So you guys, continue following these beads, and they seem to drop at somewhat regular intervals. Some of them take you a little longer to track down, but they seem to be going up Zastro Street and let me. Oops, hold on.
Sayara is collecting them as they come across them.
So you see them going up Zastro Street. I don't know. Can you see this line that I'm drawing?
There's I see maybe that's a new small black line.
Kind of going up Zastro Street.
Maybe not.
Oh no,
Check
it's
the
there.
light.
Wish I could change the color of it.
I can see it on the stream.
Maybe it's just me then.
Oh, line just popped up on my map.
Okay.
Oh, you gotta let go of it.
Okay. I wish I could change the colors. That black is hard to see. All right. Well, you see this leading up Zastro Street for a ways, and then it kind of ducks into another street for a moment, and then up another little alley, and you find yourself on Candle Lane, where they seem to drop off. And looks like we're about halfway through right now, so this is probably going to be a good spot to take a quick bio break, and then we'll come back and resume.
Okay.
All right. We will see you all in about 10.
Swap your face over.
Okay, we're back. So you find yourselves all on Candle Lane here, and like I've said, most of this area in the dock ward is all very, very tightly packed buildings, and the buildings here in Candle Lane, in particular, are so tall and so tightly packed that the street is pretty much constantly dark unless it is noon. So the this whole kind of lane here is just kind of enveloped in gloom, and it's almost like as dark as a dungeon, even though you're in the open air, and about as odorous as one too. Like this whole part of town kind of has a particular scent to it, but this kind of dank alley in particular. So nearly all of the street lamps along this lane have been smashed, much like most of the other ones in this part of town. The only light that isn't is a faint flickering from down the lane, almost like a distant candle.
Feels kind of tight. Keep your eyes out as we're trying to find this place, guys.
So do you head further in, kind of towards this flickering? Okay. So you head kind of cautiously up this dark lane and come across the street lamp that's still lit and intact, the only one that is. The flickering in it, there doesn't appear to be a candle in it, but there's still some kind of flickering light coming out of the lantern box. And, kind of casts a dim pool of light around the pole and across, this chunk of the street that it's sitting on.
So it's like a magic lamp of some kind?
Yeah, you could do an Arcana check. See if you recognize this as anything in particular. So you surmise that this looks to be some kind of continual flame spell that had been cast on this lantern, so it still kind of flickers away with this candlelight. Even if it was smashed, or even though the candle's long since gone.
Is the warehouse that we're looking for nearby, does it seem?
Sure. Well, I won't make you do a check for it. So as you're looking around, in this kind of lit area in the middle of this dark lane, you see on the kind of southwestern side, and I'll turn on a little pin for you here. There you go. So you see there is a two-story structure kind of set back a little ways from the street, and there's a fairly high fence around it, and on the gate on the fence, painted underneath the handle, you see that black-winged snake symbol kind of underneath the doorknob, or the handle on the gate.
So we learned that was the Zentrum symbol. How much do I know about the Zentrum?
Do a history check for me. So the Zentrum, let me get some info up here. Where did I put that? So, the Zentarim, you know that they were originally founded as kind of a mercenary force a long time ago. Um, they have, their influence is in various places around the Sword Coast. I mean, they aren't just here in Waterdeep. They've got, kind of outpost of their gang in most major cities, and smaller towns as well in some cases. Um, not too much is really known publicly about like their leadership at all or anything like that. But they're one of the gangs that has a fairly heavy presence here in Waterdeep, and at least from what you've heard from at the Yawning Portal and from Volo and such, a lot of the violence that's been plaguing the city recently has been in part from them and some of the other gangs.
Okay. So this looks like their hideout, guys. What are we doing? This is not my area of expertise. I am more one to study, not breaking and entering.
Do you try the gate at all?
Fine, if you guys are gonna stand there looking like dead fish, I'll see what's going on and I'll go kind of try the. Anybody that's looking can see I'm nervous and kind of shaky.
So you kind of, pull on the gate here, and surprisingly it's unlocked. It just opens. And you can see, like, there's a. Actually, let me bring up that map for you here. 1 sec. And let me figure out how to show. Okay. So there we go. That worked. So you see there's like this, these double gates on the side of this kind of yard outside of this two-story structure. And pulling it open, like I said, it's unlocked to your surprise. And in front of you is just kind of this empty kind of warehouse yard. You do notice in the yard there appears to be an actual black flying snake that has been shot by an arrow and is dead in the yard.
It looks like someone may have beat us to the punch, and I'll step into the yard and point out the snake to the rest.
Jinku kind of shivers. She does not like snakes.
Cat, sit down. Do you investigate the dead snake at all, or just leave it be on the yard here?
I've probably never seen one, so I'd probably be curious from an academic perspective.
Sure. Let me see if I can. Seeing if I can find an image of one for you here. Well, this particular image isn't a black one, but that is how they look. This one is black.
Yuck.
And yeah, like I said, it's been pierced through with an arrow. Very definitely dead. You see, kind of tied on the side of it, appears to be a small piece of parchment. Um, you, you can surmise that they possibly use these as kind of messengers of sorts.
I'll look and see what the parchment says.
Sure. So you take a look at this parchment here, and you see that it says, "Send assistance under attack by Xanathars," and that's all it says.
Well, if this creature is their symbol, we can surmise that this was a messenger of some sort. Perhaps this is a Xanathar arrow.
It would seem as such.
Hmm.
Siniku's gonna look around, see if there's any
Sure.
signs of our fancy man, any more beads or, scrap of cloth or anything.
You do see that there is one of these beads in the yard here. In terms of entrances, you see to the north end of this, or at least from what you see on the map here, there's a kind of more regular sized door, and then straight ahead from the gate is kind of a larger warehouse, kind of sliding loading dock type door. It has like some kind of rails above it that it sits in. It seems to slide to one side. Um,
Maybe we should go in a little deeper, see what we can find, see if our fancy man's in there.
You lead the way. I will follow.
Alright, come on, guys.
which door are you checking out?
What were my options again?
So there is kind of a more normal sized door to the north end of this map that has looks like it has like one of those little sliding eye slots in it. Looks like it can be opened from the other side. And then straight ahead from the gate is a loading dock type door. So a large warehouse. There are a pair of sliding double doors that both seem to slide outwards. That seems to be the main kind of cargo in and out type door.
Let's go with that one. The double doors.
Okay. As you grab one of the handle, this one appears to be locked.
Locked door.
Alright, well, let's go to the other door then.
Yeah, I can't pick a lock.
Okay. You try this other door, and this one is also locked.
Anybody know how to pick a lock?
I know how to pick a lock.
Would you mind?
Okay.
Which door do you want to open?
I'll let you pick. I'm good with either.
Since we've already gone down, I'll pick the loading dock door.
Okay. Roll a dexterity check for me. Okay. So, Zara, you kind of mess with the lock on the loading door that's holding the double doors shut, and you manage to get that open. And the lock falls away. You're now able to slide these apart.
Okay. So I quietly get the door open and peek inside the room.
Okay. So as you open the door on the loading dock here, you see in front of you. Let me unmask a little bit more of that. There we go. So you see in front of you kind of a typical warehouse-looking setup. There's various barrels and crates and things kind of scattered around. You also see a fair amount of blood stains around. You actually see against one of the barrels, kind of straight in front of the door, is one of these thugs in black leather that you've heard of, dead against the barrel here. And let's see. Could I have you all roll a perception check for me here real quick? All right. So, let's see. Jinku and Boo, as you guys are getting this door open and, the dim light that there is kind of comes in through, you hear a bit of a kind of a quick rustling ruckus coming from inside this structure. Almost sounds like people kind of rushing, tripping over some crates or loose furniture or something like that inside this place.
It sounds like there's someone in here alive. We must hurry, and hopefully we can find our friends.
Jinku will rush in and say, "Anybody in here? Show yourself."
Let me get you guys on the map here. All right, so you rush in here, and let me show up a little bit more of the map. So you see ahead of you here, in the middle of the room, is what appears to be a Kenku in kind of a rough leather garb, and the noise that you heard, you kind of see peeking out from some of the barrels, some other compatriots of his that seem to have rushed behind some crates. You kind of see some feathers or maybe a foot poking out from the sides. Go ahead and roll initiative, everyone. Okay. Looks like we did lose Mist. Mix. All right. That's okay. Oops. I think those guys disappeared. Let me bring them back. Okay. You guys can see the Kenkus, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. I think they disappeared for a second there. All right. So, you bust in here. There's a few that seem to be poorly hiding behind some crates. The one that's right in the middle of the room looks a bit shocked as you run in shouting, Jinku. And that brings us to, let's see, top of the turns, Kenku number 10. Let's see here.
Did you put them right, though? That's weird. We can't so I can see the tokens. I can't see them on the combat tracker. Is that...
Oh, whoops. I forgot to turn their eyeballs on.
Okay.
How about now?
Weird.
There they are.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, let me get up there. Character sheet here. All right, so Kenku number 10, he I forgot to turn off the random numbering. I'll fix that. So the Kenku, kind of hiding behind some of these barrels here, squawks, and he fires a short bow at you, Jinku. Target. Yeah. There we go. And shoots off a short bow. Why isn't that? So, quick, last time when I had, like, in the yawning portal, like, it had their actions, like, right here in the combat tracker to roll on, but it doesn't now?
You know, so it's round one, but you haven't selected anybody as a turn. Like, I see Kenku 10 is at the top of the order. But
Oh. Now we got it. Okay. That's what I was missing. Okay. So, Kenku here shoots his short bow at Jinku. And misses. So this arrow kind of flies wide and you hear it thud into a nearby barrel. And you kind of hear a squawk of frustration as that goes by.
And Jinku will go, ha!
The Kinku at the back, he also takes aim at Jinku. Oop. And fires his short bow as well. And manages to hit. Doing 6 piercing damage to you. Which brings us to Zyara.
Okay.
Let's see. How do I see how far one of them is away?
If you, like, control click on one of them to target, it should make a little line. Yeah.
That's still in range. I'm gonna do Sacred Flame on Kenku number 2.
I can't hear you at all.
I'm gonna do Sacred Flame on Kenku number 2. If I can remember how to do this.
So you click on the little kind of lasso symbol next to it, off to the right. And then you roll cast. And then if it hits,
Which
it does, roll the damage, so the blood symbol. Alright, so you cast Sacred Flame, and this holy flame kind of descends on this Kenku here, and he kind of squawks and is like waving his feathers kind of frantically as they singe a bit from this Sacred Flame descending onto him. Do you have anything else on your turn, Zyra?
No. I'm gonna stay right here.
Okay. Jinku.
I am gonna shoot an arrow at Kenkunai.
Okay. That hits. Very nice. Good hit. So you fire this bow across the warehouse here, and that pretty squarely hits him like right in the stomach. And he kind of lurches backwards, kind of grasping his stomach here, making some pained noises as he does so. And on his turn, let's see, his movement. So he rushes forward, brandishing his short sword. He doesn't manage to get to you, but he's still kind of clutching his stomach with one hand as he rushes forward with his short sword and the other kind of angrily coming after you. Which brings us to Boo.
I will step up because we opened the double doors, right?
Yeah, the
I
double
think
doors
that
are
was-
open.
okay. All right, I'll step up and I will attempt to do Toll of the Dead on.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you ring out your Toll of the Dead, and he kind of grips his head as this bell kind of rings into his mind, and takes a bit more damage there. And you kind of continuing to crouch down behind these barrels here, kind of leaning up against them in pain as this strikes him. Which brings us to Kenku number 2, who, after he kind of gets a hold of himself here, he kind of dashes out from behind here, and let's see, 5, 10, 15, 25, 30, and makes it over here to the door with his short sword out and slashes at Blossom. And misses. He's still seems to be a little off balance from this Toll of the Dead and the flames that hit him here. Which brings us to Blossom.
All right. Blossom will attack at Kinku number 2.
Okay. All right, so you strike at Kenku number 2, and he goes down. How does that look?
It's a very good shoulder gash with a great axe.
All right. So this Kenku kind of crumples against these barrels just to the north of it here. And he is gone. All right, which brings us to Mix. Are you there? Gonna guess probably no. All right. Which brings us to the top of the order with Mix again, who is still not there. And Kenku behind here. So this Kenku, hearing his friend go down, he makes a run for it and heads up these stairs, and he disappears up the stairs. And Kenku number 7 makes for the same sort of move. He only makes it to about the bottom of the stairs, though. But it looks like he's heading the same way. Sarah.
Okay. So I think I'm gonna move to here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do Sacred Flame on Kenku's
Alright, that unfortunately misses. Your flame fizzles out on Kenku 7 before it does any damage to him. Alright, anything else on your turn?
Nope.
Alright, that brings us to Blossom.
Did we lose Biz too?
You there, Viz?
Oh, yep, I'm here.
Okay. You're up.
I'm gonna move over to Kinku 9 and attack him.
Alright, fire away. Alright, that axe swings wide. He manages to dodge slightly as you swing down upon him. And Kenku 9 retaliates at your swing with his short sword and completely whiffs it. This stomach injury he got from Jenku's bow earlier seems to be getting to him. He's losing quite a bit of blood here. And he just completely biffs that swing. Jinku.
I'm gonna move right up to him and I'm gonna smack him with my flail.
Alright. That hits. Alright, so you come down with your flail, just hitting him square across the beak, and his head kind of twists quickly to the side, making an unpleasant noise, and he crumples to the ground. Which brings us to Boo.
I will step in and target Kenku 7 with a toll of it.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
and he saves against that. And oh, Boo, you're up again, right at the top.
Well, I'll do that again then.
All right. Jingle that jangle. And he manages to
Man.
shove that off again. Which brings us to Kenku number 7, who, hearing his other friend go down here at you guys' hands, flees upstairs out of sight. You hear, both the two Kenku that you'd seen flee up the stairs. A moment after they get up there, you hear kind of like the jingling sound of what sounds like a kind of a shop doorbell, and some doors opening and closing, and then there is silence, and they are gone. They have fled. We are out of combat.
Cowards!
So as you guys, are kind of taking in the room here, now that you're kind of getting a view of it without the fight going on, you can see that tables and chairs have been kind of carelessly tossed all over the floor. The corpses of about a dozen men kind of lie in various places. Like there's the one, right next to Blossom against these barrels here. Other ones kind of up against the walls. Some of them, kind of against some of the other chairs and furniture that are overturned. And then on the north side of the area, you see these stairs, going up that the Kenku fled up through. What do you guys do in here, seeing this site?
I'll check the bodies of the two Kenku and whatever other like thugs are near this area.
Sure. So as you are kind of looking through some of the other thugs that were around, you see, some of them have this black snake tattoo on their neck. Some of them have it on their forearm. But all of these ones that weren't the Kenku all seem to have this tattoo somewhere on their person. The Kenku that you look, um, one of them has a tattoo in the palm of their right hand that looks like a circle with 10 spokes radiating out of these sides.
Do I recognize the symbol at all?
Roll a history check for me. From what you know, just from being around in Waterdeep, you know this is the symbol of the Xanathar Guild.
Okay. Do I find any like gold or anything valuable on anyone?
Let me see. Nothing particularly of note. Like you find like a few stray copper pieces and things in some of their pockets. Just from like looking around, it seems like these Kenku that have been left here had just been kind of rifling through some of the various crates, which look to contain, kind of various sundries and foodstuffs and things. It seems like they were poking around trying to see if there was anything else valuable at all, but they didn't find anything. You see, let me uncover the rest of this floor here for you guys. There you go. So you see there is a looks to be some kind of closet under the stairs on the north end here. And then, again, kind of more crates and things stacked up on the far corner.
Okay. It would seem that these Kenku were the servants of Xanathar. And I go and move towards that closet.
Okay. Do you open that up?
I attempt to open the door, yeah.
Okay. So as you approach the door, you can see it hangs really loosely on broken hinges. The chamber beyond is very cramped and smells very strongly of sour fish and vinegar. There's various discarded ropes and canvas and splintered wood from smashed barrels. And you see a man kind of cowering as far under the stairs as this closet will let him go. You can see that these, like the ropes that are, like the tattered ropes that you see on the floor, they seem to be fairly recently cut. Assumedly he had been bound in these. And you can kind of hear the ragged breathing of this man. He's kind of half covered by a tarp that he seems to have kind of pulled near himself, hiding under the stairs.
I take a step into the doorway and call out to him, would you happen to be Floon?
So, as you say this name, Floon, the man kind of peeks up a little from underneath this tarp, and seeing that you're not one of these thugs or Kenku or anything, looks a little bit relieved. And he says, "Oh, Floon, you know of him? That's not me, but he's a friend of mine. Is he here still? They brought him with me here."
We've not seen him yet. We arrived and all of the Zentrum appear to be dead, and the four Kenku that were still here, two are dead and two fled. We were sent by Volo to look for him.
Ah, Volo. Yes.
May I get your name?
Radar Neverember. I assume you've heard of my father, the one of the High Lords. Well, former, but of the Neverember family.
Your father will probably be incredibly grateful that his son has been rescued from such circumstance. Will he not?
Well, I haven't seen my father in quite some time since he left the lordship of Waterdeep, but I'm certain he'd be relieved in some way. We aren't on the best of terms. But
Neither are we.
have you found Floon? Is he still here? I know they were questioning him and me. I'm not sure. There was a bit of a fight that broke out. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I hope they still have him somewhere.
We haven't found him yet, though we have not checked upstairs.
What were they questioning you about?
So, let me pull this over here. Well, when we got brought here, the Zents that brought us here were questioning me about the 500,000 dragons that my father stole from the city. And they took this locket that was very precious to me. It was my mother's. It was made in remembrance, it was made in remembrance of my mother. I'm not sure what they wanted with it, but they took it from me off my neck, and not sure what they did with it. But yeah, they seemed very interested in some dealings my father had before he left town.
Interesting. So where did they have Floon? We're here for Floon.
Well, last I had seen, they brought us in here, and were questioning us and roughing us up a bit, and they I believe they took Floon upstairs somewhere, and then some kind of fight broke out. There was a group that burst in upstairs, and then I ran and hid under the stairs here in the commotion. I think some intergang violence going on. I'm not quite sure who.
Yes, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did, friend. Well, you did well. Perhaps we can discuss some of these dealings of yours and your father's here soon. Tell me, will you be staying here and waiting for an escort, or are you going to run off on your own again?
Well, if you would let me, I'd be more than willing to come along with you. You seem to have your wits about you.
A bit more than you do, huh?
Seems that way.
Let's go then.
I'd like to look upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go upstairs.
Sure. So you had. Let me get this opened up here.
We can leave Nix to babysit.
All right. You should see the upstairs map now. So going upstairs here. The second level is, again, stacked with more crates where it overlooks the warehouse. Again, most of them seem to be full of various types of junk, moth-eaten bolts of cloth, and spoiled oil, and nothing that seems particularly valuable. You do see there is a door to the north, going into a room.
I try and open the door.
Okay. So you open the door, it opens without any issue, and there's kind of a jangling of a bell as the door opens. You see, looking up as you walk through, there's a little bell mounted on the inner edge of the door that has some kind of trigger latch as the door is opened. These appear to be some kind of offices. Let me unblock this here. And for some reason, this map doesn't have it, but opposite the door you just came in, there is also another door on the opposite end, as well as another door leading to the left. I don't know why this map doesn't have that door in there. It's supposed to.
Okay.
So I'm going to, just in case, have my dagger at the ready,
Okay.
and I'm gonna open the. I guess I'll try the door to the west first.
Okay.
And I'm right there with her. I got my weapons at the ready.
Okay. So as you step into this other room, this again appears to be more of some kind of office type room. It doesn't seem like it gets very much use. There's some desks, some chairs, some bare shelves. Everything's very dusty and draped with cobwebs. On one of the desks in the center of this room, you see a locket, kind of an elaborate ivory locket that appears to have been broken open, and it lies on the desk here. You see there's some kind of compartment that was inside of it, but whatever it was that was inside the locket, is now gone. But the broken locket itself remains.
Is there anything on the inside of note other than this chamber that was broken open, or is it just pretty much a normal locket now?
Yeah, it just appears to be a locket, kind of carved, like the ivory is carved in the shape of it's kind of engraved outline of a woman. Raynor had mentioned that this was made in remembrance of his mother who had passed away. So you assume that this is her visage on this locket. And then, the interior, it just has some kind of hollow interior that is empty now.
Okay. I'll pocket the locket for now. And I guess try the door on the lower left.
Okay. So you open this, and again, this seems to be just more of a closet. There doesn't appear to be anything really of note in here.
Okay. Upper door.
Sure. So you check out the upper door. Again, also another closet. You do see there is a, kind of sitting on one of the shelves in here is a square of very fine looking parchment. Very well crafted, has some kind of nice inlaid gold tooling on it. You aren't quite sure what it is, but it seems kind of odd. It sticks out amongst the dust and everything else that's in here.
I
turn it over in my hands and take a look at it and think that it's interesting, so I put it in my pack.
As you're turning it over in your hands, this piece of paper, in like a less than a second or so, magically folds itself into a small bird and kind of hops up and down in your hand and then unfolds back into a regular piece of paper.
Interesting.
And let me put that in. Let me give that to you 1 second. Okay. You should see that in your inventory now. It's Paper Bird.
I do indeed. Um, so having investigated all of these rooms, I go back into that first room,
Mm-hmm.
and you said there was a door to the north.
Yeah, it's not on the map for some reason, but there is a door.
Okay, so I'll try that door.
You open this door, and it just opens back out into a street.
Would it open into a street or above the street? Since we're up a level.
The street behind is a bit of a higher grade.
Oh, okay.
So this isn't opening onto Candle Lane. This is opening like the next street down, which is like a little bit raised.
Okay. It seems this is how our friends left.
Yes, and I'm wondering if our friend downstairs knows a little bit more than he's letting on.
Yes, I'd be interested to know what was in the locket.
Let's go ask him, shall we?
All right.
Okay.
So you guys head back downstairs.
Yep.
All right. So do you give Raynar back his locket here?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
So we come back downstairs, and
Was Floon up there?
unfortunately, no. It looks like there was another door out into the street, which is how the Kenku must have left. I suspect they must have taken Floon with them.
Oh, I think I see what happened here. I think
And what would that be?
I think whoever busted in here mistook Floon for me and took him away. It seems they were more when they captured me and Floon off the street outside the tavern. They seemed a lot more interested in the information that I had, especially that locket. I'm not sure what they wanted with it. It's just it's in memory of my mother. There's nothing in particular about it special that I'm aware of. But I think in the commotion they must have been coming to capture me, but mistook Floon since he was upstairs and easily accessible by the door. I fear what may happen to him when they realize they have the wrong man.
Why would they have been interested in the measly locket? Was there something important inside?
It opens?
Well, it is a locket.
I was never aware that it actually opened.
Are you not aware of what a locket is?
As far as I was aware, it was just a necklace.
Who gave you the necklace? Was it your father?
Yeah, my father presented it to me before he left. He said to, hold on to it and keep it safe in memory of his wife and my mother that passed away some time ago. So ever since then, I've worn it and kept it in remembrance of her and not really thought much of it. Just another piece of fancy jewelry. Nothing particularly out of the ordinary as far as I was aware.
Would Could your father perhaps be the type to have hidden something in this locket and given it to you?
Well, there were many things my father was involved in that I wasn't really aware of. I mean, embezzling 500,000 dragons from the city of Waterdeep, for one. And, you know, he very well could have hidden something in there. I'm not sure what, though.
Well, you see, we asked because that would we found the locket upstairs and it had been forced open, and whatever was inside it is now gone.
Hmm. May I see it?
Of course, I take it out of my pocket and hand it to him.
Okay. So Raynar kind of turns the locket over in his hands and, continuing to look surprised, like like he said, he never realized that this thing had anything in it. He thought it was just this, pendant of his mother. Um, it seems he really truly wasn't aware of any kind of hidden compartment in this. And kind of looking at the compartment itself, he just kind of continues looking puzzled. He doesn't seem to know or be able to think of anything that it could have been. Uh,
There's nothing that your father could have hidden in this, perhaps, as your father never used you in his plans before.
I mean, not that I know of. My father, being an open lord, he, certainly had his politics and various things that he did on his own, and I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow involved me in some of these things, but what those might be, I'm not sure. And, given that they were questioning me so much about this gold that he'd supposedly taken, and and this locket, something must be related there. I'm not quite sure what it would be or how it would help them. Maybe he hid it somewhere.
Well, I would suppose it'd be hard to pack around that much gold.
Half a million dragons is no small sum, and no small amount of weight either.
Hmm. Tell me, when is it that your father supposedly stole this? Tell me this.
Let me... 1 second here. So, my father, Lord Daggelt Neverember, he began. Hold on, let me find this here. Oh, here it is. Okay. So, my father, was one of the open lords of Waterdeep for quite some time, and I mean, nobody's really quite sure when he started embezzling, but it was evidently for quite a while with the sum that he supposedly accrued. But he was deposed by uh, Laryl Silverhand, one of the current open lords, in. Where did I write that down? was this? Ah, 3 years ago. It was 3 years ago that he was deposed and fled the city. Uh, After his embezzlement was discovered by some of the other open lords, particularly Laeral Silverhand, they brought it to the attention of all the others, and he was stripped of his title, and he managed to escape the city and fled, and hasn't been seen since.
Interesting. Interesting. So you think that this gang thinks that our friend here, Floon, might be you and know where these coins are?
That's what it seems to me. I mean, the Zentarim certainly wanted some information out of me, but I don't really, like I said, it's been 3 years since my father left, and I have no idea what kind of business he was in with this embezzlement, or where he might have hidden such a thing, or what other measures he might have taken. I'm afraid I wasn't too much help to them, but when these others broke in, it seems in the commotion they thought they thought me and Floon, or they thought Floon was me, and took him off to goodness knows where. Have you
Goodness
found who they
knows
were?
They seem to be Xanathars. But
Ah, yes. More of the gang violence between these two here in the city. Perhaps they both are aware of the sum that had been taken and have interest in acquiring it.
yes, perhaps if you nobles were less busy embezzling and perhaps spending that money on social programs, we wouldn't have this gang violence.
Well, I tend to agree with you, friend, but I am afraid I am not my father. I hold no place in the lordship.
Good. You
Perhaps
shouldn't.
we should get out of here. Find
Find our benefactor and let him know of what's going on. Perhaps once he hears this man's story, he'll have some ideas of what we can do.
Yeah, perhaps that would be well, although, given they have the wrong man, I fear if we leave Floon alone for too long, I do not want to know what Xanathar might want with him, or do to him, when he finds out that he is not me.
Or
True
do you
enough,
have a
but we don't
suggestion?
know where to go.
Yes, we can't help a man that we don't know his whereabouts.
Well, I mean, the Xanathar Guild is known to frequent the sewers of the city and use it as their network to get around. I have no idea where amongst that tangled maze they might be, but perhaps they took him down into one of their hideouts down there.
Well, maybe you should come with us to the sewers. See
Well,
if you can show us the way, noble.
he kind of grimaces at this and isn't really too big on venturing down there, but
You are
get.
worried about Floon, are you not?
Well, yes, but it's.
So then you'll come with us.
It's kind of your fault he's in this situation.
I suppose that is a fair. That is fair. I guess I can do that for my friend. And
Can
with
you fight?
somewhat, I have some training I've done with a sword. I may not have the experience, but I can be of some assistance, I think.
Yes, I'm sure your noble upbringing prepared you for this. Come, show us. Let's go. Let's get in the shit, as it.
So, as you, are you guys going back out the door you came in, or going out the door that the Kenku went out of?
Maybe we should go out the other door just to see if there's any clues.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you all make your way out the upper door on the upper floor of this warehouse that opens onto the street behind, and begin kind of looking around. As you are stepping out of this particular alley, you see that there are three street urchins, young street urchins, kind of posted up at the exit to this alley here. They all look to be, kind of around the age of 10, or so. There's a pale, taller human girl. She has a toy sword at her side. There's a short, kind of tubby, dark-skinned human boy with a toy wand, which just appears to be a stick, tucked into his belt. And he also has a stuffed owlbear under one arm. And a red-skinned tiefling boy with a kind of battered, looks like a captain's hat, and an eye patch over one eye. And as you're looking around, trying to find some kind of sewer entrance, you can see that these three have a couple crates piled on top of each other, and the tiefling boy is playing with some cards here. He has 3 cards face down upon the table, and he's kind of talking quickly and loudly, calling out to people passing by, and calls out to you as you're making your way up the street. Follow the lady around, she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. 1 thin shard, that's all it takes. Follow the lady, you could win a fortune. You there, yes you, would you like to try your luck? People, for the most part, seem to be ignoring him. Every once in a while, one person maybe comes over and humors them. But for the most part, people passing by on the street don't seem to take too much interest in these urchins. After a moment, you see the tubby boy, who is kind of sitting across the street from the other two, kind of steps up and calls out loudly, I'll try my luck, good sir. What an entertaining and potentially profitable game you have here. And he puts a nib of copper down on the crate, and the tiefling scoops it up. All right, here we go. Follow the lady. And the red boy flips the cards over in turn, and you see there's like a number card, and then one that has a lady face card on it. And he picks them back up and begins kind of tossing them over each other here on the crate. And follow the lady around, she goes. Where she stops, all right then. Where's the lady?
That was not meant to be rolled.
And so the boy takes out, the tubby boy takes the stick out of his pocket, or out of his belt here, and kind of points it at the middle card. And the tiefling boy turns it over. Ah, we've got a winner here. And he pulls out 2 little copper nibs and hands them to the other boy, who's beaming with pride. You see, folks, it's an easy game. Anybody can win. You've just got to keep your eyes open. There's a couple passerby kind of stop and kind of wander over that way, kind of interested. And, again, he kind of calls out in your direction. How about you? Would you like to give it a try, friend?
I'll do it.
All right. Make a... So he as you come up to him, he's like, hello, sir. Follow the lady and see if you win a fortune. And he turns the cards over, and you can see there's, the 2 number cards and the one lady on the right-hand side that he's set here. And he flips them back over and starts tossing them around. Go ahead and roll a perception check for me, Boo. All right. So you're trying to follow these cards, and he seems to be tossing them pretty deftly. It's trickier to follow than you thought they would be. And you reach out and point to one of the cards here and flips it over. Oh, I'm afraid you don't win, my friend. Would you like to try again? Could the rest of you also roll a perception check for me? All right. So Zara and Blossom, as Boo is here, kind of working at this table and, trying to follow these cards around. The rest of you are standing around watching as well. And the girl behind you is trying to pick each of your pockets. Manages to take a few copper off of you, Jinku. But Zara and Blossom, you manage to catch her red-handed as she's trying to reach into your pockets.
So I catch her and grab her wrist
And turn to her and say, I can give you more than a couple measly copper if you perchance have information for us.
As soon as you grab her hand, the boy at the table who was, looks like he was trying to set up to have Boo have another go around, looks shocked and, kind of turns to his friend. Ah! They got us! And kind of pushes the crate backwards and, tries to get up quickly, kind of scooping up the cards and, tries to run away. Did any of you try to grab him?
I will.
All right. Go ahead and roll do a dexterity check for me.
Just a second.
Okay.
There we go.
Oof.
Jinku is being a bit klutzy at the moment.
Now the small boy with his stack of cards manages to kind of dodge out of the way of you as you're kind of reaching down a hand onto his shoulder here. Zara still seems to have a hold on the girl, though.
I'll try to grab the boy.
Okay. All right, hold on, let me roll. All right, as you reach for the boy, again, he manages to dodge out of the way and kind of yells back to his friends. Oh, crap, where did I? One second, I gotta find where I wrote that down. Okay, so he turns and yells back to his friends, Nat, Jakes, get out of there! And he manages to make his way off up the street, but you still have your hand on the gal. And the tubby boy, he's still nearby. He kind of clumsily tripped over the crates as he tried to quickly get away, and he is currently on the ground. And as he sees you all kind of looming over him here, he kind of turns around, turns over sheepishly on the ground and goes, y'all look new to the city and don't know much about these streets as we do. Tell us where you're headed and we'll point you the right way.
Um, so Zyara kind of looks between them and is like, I've lived here for many years, but we're hoping for some information. 5 copper to either of you if you can give me any details about some Kenku who came out through this door a little bit ago.
Their eyes kind of light up as you mention the 5 copper, since usually they're used to dealing with nibs, little fragments of copper pieces. And they kind of think for a moment and say, well, they headed up the street a little ways and went down in that sewer grate. They lifted it up and disappeared.
Could you tell, did they have a man with them?
No, just those 2.
Have you seen anyone else leave this building recently?
I mean, we only set up our cards here a little bit ago. We only saw them.
Okay. So they went in the sewer. I don't suppose you've heard of any talk of where the Xanathar Guild might be set up in the city, have you?
We wouldn't know where they're at, but I mean, if you follow their symbol, I'm sure you'll be able to find it.
I kind of look between my party members to see if maybe they have any other questions before I pay them.
Make sure they understand that if I catch them doing that to me, they won't get questioned. And I'll kind of say that as I'm talking, like to Zyara, but then I'll lean down and I'll whisper, make sure you understand that. And I'll grab the nose of my mask and I'll pull it a little bit. And I'll flick my tongue out and peck him on the cheek with it. And then I'll let the mask snap back in place.
He kind of lets out a little yelp at this and kind of grabs his female friend and, Jenks, let's get out of here. And they dash off up the street after Zara had handed them their copper. All right. And I think that'll be a good place to stop since we're at 11.
All right, then.
Child harassment.
Snot-nosed little brats.
I don't like thieves. May as well just eat them.
Yeah, if you... Riz, I don't know if you got all the names, but it was Nat, Jenks, and Squiddly.
Squiddly?
Yeah, the tiefling boy's name's Squiddly.
Okay.
Do his parents hate him?
Well, he's an urchin.
Does
Yeah,
he?
what
Yeah, he
parents?
does.
They're
Yeah.
dead.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming, and thank you to all those of you who stopped by the stream. We will see you guys next time.
Yay, fun.